So last year we talked about how car owners are getting dumber. Drew Gooden talked about how cars are getting dumber. But now it's time we also talk about how car drivers are also getting dumber. From 2019 to 2021, despite people being inside more from the pandemic and significantly less cars were on the road, driving deaths increased by 17%, making it the largest 2-year increase since the 1940s. Studies have shown drivers are more distracted than ever due to cars having literal screens inside of them instead of, buttons and dials that just change AC. But more importantly, everyone now has access to smartphones now. Also, apologies to anyone who bet against me making another car video on Kalshi. Told y'all you should have quit gambling, but here we are. Yeah, my generation is cooked. Despite less Gen Z drivers being on the road because they're getting licenses way later than every generation before them, they're somehow more likely to crash than any other generation, with 49 incidents per 1,000 drivers, nearly double the rate of millennials. It's sad when people in my generation flex about raw dogging driving. Like, I already thought raw dogging plane flights wasn't that big of a deal that people make it up to be, but driving without a radio or texting or other distractions, that should not be a flex. That should be the bare minimum. Really, we're flexing the bare minimum now. This statistic still blows me away, but to be fair, I will mention, not all of Gen Z is driving age yet. Gen Z also is driving way later than other generations, usually with the average age of getting a license at 20 years old instead of 16 or 18, meaning that there's still some hope. Maybe the rest of young Gen Z will lock in and level out the statistic a bit. Please tell me you guys could do that. Now, of course, texting and distracted driving, in my opinion, are only part of the main problem. The biggest issue is speeding, crashing, and even streaming. Yeah, streaming while driving has to be one of the goofiest trends made by one of the lamest groups of people. I'm so sorry. If you think motorcyclists are cornballs with the TikToks they post, you have not seen the absolute cornball behavior that is driving streamers. It's up there with scalpers, honestly. Check out that video after this one if you haven't already, but legit, social media has ruined driving way more than anything else has. Social media has ruined so many hobbies. Why do we have to film everything nowadays, much less broadcast it to a live audience? Like, this isn't even cool driving either. It's just NPC behavior, like stuff you would see a Grand Theft Auto NPC. In fact, I take that back. That's offensive to Grand Theft Auto NPCs. I think watching GTA NPCs driving is more entertaining than like 99% of driving streamers. And the only time driving streamers are entertaining is when they're crashing due to some of their own stupid behavior, and we all just want to laugh at them, and they deserve it. These clowns are really out here thinking they'll do numbers by streaming their commute. And the worst part is they don't even do their commute competently because they're just reading chat half the time, completely distracted. This garbage is not worth the bandwidth it's being recorded on. Driving requires the utmost attention, since even a single second has these multi-ton metal cocoons barreling straight into a wall. And that's not an exaggeration, because 70 miles an hour has your car go over 100 feet in a single second. Do you know how far 100 feet is? Blue whale for scale. Also added cheeseburgers for scale for the Americans. That's what happens in a single second. So reading chat and for like even just a couple seconds and looking away from the road can take away someone else's life. And I'm gonna say this, like, no matter how much flack us car guys used to get for street racing in the prime underground era from 2000s to 2019, at least us car guys only risked our lives when we speed down empty roads in the middle of the night. And we all like have an honor system where we're like, we know the risks we're doing. If my car loses control and maybe even slides into yours, you signed up for it, I signed up for it. Nothing is sadder than watching these driving streamers who are willing to swim, cut, or even, like I say, just run reds. Like, sometimes it's not even like they're doing badass driving. It's the most lame NPC behavior.
There's nobody typing in his chat. He is broadcasting this garbage to actually nobody, just crickets. And yet he is still too focused on streaming to pay attention to the road. Basically T-bones a car that's coming through. He runs a red light, blatantly filming his crime.
They'll run a red and ruin someone else's life. But we know better than to be stupid and run red lights, you know? That's just straight up, we do not persecute these losers enough. These driving streamers have the same level of IQ as like modern prank channels, where they literally get a kick out of making other people's lives worse.
Or because this French influencer just got sent to jail for a prank where he faked syringe attacks on strangers, filming and posting video clips where he could be seen sneaking up on people on the street and then pretending to inject them with an empty syringe.
It's literally same tier as scalpers, maybe even worse, because scalpers just ruin people's lives economically, not literally. This is just complete clout goblin behavior. And the goofiest ones are like the non-car MFs with 0 track days, never driven a supercar, much less even a sports car, but they think they can run from the police. Like, ain't no way this is confidence, right? This behavior has to be stupidity or deep delusion. I don't know how deep they're into it, because if I'm a medicated and clinically diagnosed schizophrenic and I'm still smart enough to not try to run from the police in my 800 horsepower supercharged Z06 or modded Porsche Night Rod, I don't know what crack pipe these guys are on. They're tweaking on fent. We have these clowns out here actually pushing the buttons and playing with GSP in some bones stock Civic, knowing damn well those Chargers are pushing north of 800 horsepower. Who are they thinking they're gonna outrun? The ice cream truck man can run them down mid, bro. This is GSP though. They'll pit maneuver someone for even thinking about running in their head. Best part is, this is free entertainment. I don't even have to worry about my tax dollars being wasted on GSP cars, because they just impound the ones that they capture from these fools who try running from them. Then they convert those impounded cars into new pursuit vehicles. We actually got skill-based matchmaking IRL before GTA 6. And what further pisses me off is the lack of accountability these drivers have.
You was running 101 miles an hour on the expressway, you would not pull over. You would not pull over. Sit down, please. Oh my God.
You're done crazy now. Why was you driving at 108, man? Huh? Why didn't you stop?
They'll actually get upset when the police wreck them. Like, I'm not a bootlicker, but it's like, brother, you run, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And even if it's not anything to do with the police, right? Like modern car guys, like we've lost the plot, because they'll just crash their BMW into someone else's Miata by the fault of their own, because they're crossing over the yellow line, and you should not be doing that through a blind mountain turn. And then they'll still make a sad boy post about like, oh, the end of an era, guys. It's so over, bro. And it's like, brother, you weren't able to handle your own car. You also broke the most basic road law, which is stay on the side of the road you're supposed to be on. Like, anyone who crosses the forbidden mustard in a blind mountain turn, they should just have their license revoked. That's peak Darwinism award right there. Like, the entitlement that some of these awful drivers have for getting called out on their dangerous driving behavior is crazy. It's just called having consequences to their actions. And if gentle parenting didn't teach them that, then society bout to teach them it tenfold. It does bring a smile to my face to watch Instagram put some of these clowns in their place. What sucks though is every time the news media covers stuff like this, as if car guys don't already have a bad enough reputation, these non-car MFs are moving into our spaces and dragging our name through the dirt. Even further, we're getting muddied, bro. Some of these clown ass news articles even refer to this behavior as street racing incidents, and it's mad tragic since the term street racing doesn't even mean anything anymore. Like, I miss when it was underground, bro. The whole point of driving fast is not to get publicity from it. It's not to get clout. It's not to get attention. Regardless, I already have a whole video dedicated to that topic and how we should gatekeep the car community more to try to protect the sanctity of terms that we've invented. Check it out after this one, but if you enjoy automotive content and random rants, then make sure to subscribe to this channel. Welcome. Love to have you here. Anyways, crazy social media crash outs aside though, it's not just the younger drivers who are driving worse, since we really need to retest some of the older folks, which brings us to the next issue.
We learned the victims, Diego and Matilda, were celebrating their wedding anniversary and were headed to the San Francisco Zoo with their 2 young children. Before they were waiting at the bus stop when 80-year-old Mary Fong Lau crashed into them. Matilda's mom, brother, and Diego's sister spoke to the judge about the pain and trauma they have endured and described Lau's request to reduce the felony charges to misdemeanors as insulting.
It is insulting.
Older drivers need to be retested. Start doing it every 5 to 10 years. I'm not trying to be rude, it's for the rest of society's sake, and it's only fair if I'm gonna chew out the younger generation, we look upwards too, because I'll be this harsh to myself, like assuming I'll live to 80, I hope to God I can still drive. But if I find myself struggling to keep up, I will gladly take tests. I won't complain about it. I want to prove that I'm worthy of driving still, and that I'm not just gonna be a menace to society, but just hope that society puts up with me. I know retesting isn't foolproof, but it's definitely better than the alternative of just assuming people are set for life after passing once, but then they end up annihilating an entire family's bloodline.
It's a story out of San Francisco about an 80-year-old woman who was driving 70 in a residential area. She was zooming, reaching ridiculous speeds, crashes into a bus stop, entire family of 4 who are on their way to the zoo. And she's not going to prison for this. Her defense? I don't know what happened. Car just took off. And I guess that was enough.
I genuinely get so pressed thinking about this clip from Charlie, because like when he brought up this situation of this woman, when someone is at the end of their life, and like again, nothing wrong with being old, it's just me proving a point that like younger people have their whole life ahead of them. You hear that phrase all the time because it's true. They had so much potential they could have given to this world, and they got it stolen away from them. We don't know if they could have been a future doctor or engineer who could have cured cancer or made a rocket to Mars or something. Meanwhile, the other person who's a living fossil gets to live with 0 consequences. That's not a fair trade. That math is not checking out. This goes for our government too, by the way. Like, I'm tired of the old and the rich taking away the futures of the young and the healthy. Whatever happened to the saying, society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in? Meaning that it's the duty of our elders to look out for the young, even if it's a benefit they'll never actually see come to fruition, because that's just part of maturity. Instead, they're just out here like selfishly like, nah, just smash them into pieces, baby, and then deny any consequences. And that goes for not just this driving behavior, but even like the economy, right? Like, that's a can of worms for another video. We'll just stay on topic with bad drivers.
A sports car is speeding down the highway with cops in hot pursuit. The Bentley is going over 100 miles an hour with no signs of slowing down. Then, the speeding car slams into another vehicle before smashing into a guardrail. Cops in Westport, Connecticut have some serious questions for the driver.
Dude's out here acting like it's Need for Speed Most Wanted, except he's 80 years old, he's literally an octogenarian, and he is just unable to even control his vehicle at these speeds.
An ambulance?
No, I don't.
All right. Why were you driving over 100 miles an hour?
It's my granddaughter's birthday. I gotta get this the next day.
Right. Did you see me trying to catch up to you behind you?
I didn't see that. I saw lights, but it didn't look normal.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to you and you keep taking off.
Truth be told, retesting should also apply even to middle-aged drivers, but in a different way. I mean that like driving innovations, much like the rest of technology, has changed a lot in the past 2 decades. We have a lot more roundabouts, diverging diamonds, and hawk signals for pedestrians. And I'm tired of hearing the excuse, oh, but no one in our city knows how to use roundabouts. That's why we don't want to implement them. That's why we don't want to learn how to use them or implement more of them. And it's like, just teach people already. The government has a mandated program that gives us our licenses to begin with, right? Use that same program to just reteach people when, like every decade or so. And it can be a short retest. This one doesn't need to be a full one, because I understand government resources. We don't want to stress the DMV out with their super slow wait times already. Pull them in and only teach these people the new concepts. Like, I think people who've never seen a roundabout, diverging diamond, they shouldn't keep pulling the excuse of, well, I don't trust people to know how to use it. I don't know how to use it, therefore my city shouldn't implement it. It's like, I want your city to implement it because it's just de facto better for driving flow. And I remember every Midwesterner in my childhood complained about roundabouts when they first were implemented for 2 years in Indiana. Like, everyone's like, oh, remove these, they suck, they don't make sense. You know, that was so long ago. That's like more than a decade ago at this point. But now you couldn't pry those same roundabouts from most Hoosiers' cold dead hands, because that's how much people in Indiana love those roundabouts now. And it's completely valid too, because it's so life-changing when you realize you don't need to sit at stoplights for 3 to 5 minutes at every intersection anymore. Like, I still miss Indiana so much for that. Every time I revisit, I'm like, oh my God, I can go like 30 miles in less than 30 minutes. Then I come back to Atlanta and I'm lucky if I get 6 miles down the road after 45 minutes. Like, it's torture here. It's like rolling a dice. Sometimes I get 6 miles in like 15 minutes. It's the worst kind of gambling, bro. Roundabouts are the most freedom-inducing innovation for traffic. You don't have to wait at a traffic light over and over, and like I said, it's just great for everything, for saving gas, testing cornering capability, it's very fun, great for bikes, cars, even great for pedestrians, and they cost way less for the city to maintain. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win. The only downside is their size, and I'll acknowledge that. They shouldn't be put in congested, historical downtown areas like New York, for example. They're not just gonna start demolishing nearby skyscrapers to stretch out an intersection to fit a roundabout. But for suburbs, I don't think they have an excuse not to start implementing these. I don't care if drivers don't know how to use them, teach them, because suburbs, with all this suburban sprawl and car-centric design in America, I'm tired of seeing yet another intersection. Like, this is a really bad habit in Atlanta, especially where they keep adding intersections and you only see like one dude come out of the neighborhood sometimes. 50 of us will be stopping at a red light for like 2 whole minutes for one dude to leave their neighborhood. That could have been a roundabout. This brings me to my next issue. No matter how smart of a driver you are, bad driving and traffic are still an inevitability when bad infrastructure is present.
Our roads are some of the worst in the nation.
Atlanta is on this new traffic report not once but 4 times for areas like here on 285 for some of the worst bottlenecks in the country.
Sometimes bad driving is the result of horrible infrastructure. And dear God, do some cities, especially Atlanta, have some of the worst traffic infrastructure I've seen. I deadass think our traffic engineers must be professional paint huffers or something. I'm not hearing them out, by the way. No other city in America is this bad at city planning. Like, I get Atlanta is built in the foothills of a mountain, but so is Beijing, China, and Delhi, India. And those places have way higher population density than we do. So if they figured it out, why can't Atlanta? Like, I've lived in Texas, Oklahoma, Indiana, and I've traveled through all 48 continental states since my siblings lived in Arizona, New York, California, and so on. I've gone overseas to Japan, to the United Kingdom to visit family, but never in my life have I encountered some of the dumbest infrastructure decisions as I have here in this city.
Just a few hundred feet that way is another neighborhood. It would be an easy walk, but there are no sidewalks to get there, no roads to even drive there.
By drone, it's a 30-second flight. By car?
Let me show you what it takes to get there.
So what you're going to need to do is flip the U-turn and then meander about a mile out back to the main road where you're going to want to hang a left, and then speed past through houses all the way down to Arnold Mill Road where you're going to want to take another left as you zoom along at 45 miles an hour, all the while gobbling up an entire medium-sized bag of Skittles as you make another left turn and wander through miles of another forest of houses.
8.4 miles.
The shortest possible legal route between the two neighborhoods that are actually only 1/3 of a mile apart.
I felt so vindicated by this video that explained how bad Atlanta's driving infrastructure is and how nonsensical a lot of the roads and like just design is here. In ATL, 2 neighborhoods can literally be butt to butt, like facing back to back, and it could literally just be like a 2-minute walk from each other. But instead of just finishing a road that connects them, right, like, oh, just have these neighborhoods connect, they instead do this annoying long roundabout way that takes you 15 to 30 minutes across town just to reach a destination that was effectively in your backyard. And one of the intrusive thoughts I have on motorcycles and e-bikes is I just ride over the grass. Like, it's socially unacceptable to do that in a car. You can do it, but you might get ticketed. But when people see like a Honda Super Cub, yeah, those can ride on grass, who cares? And like, straight up, that's one of the reasons I like ride more than drive now, because the city actually drives me insane. Like, no other city I've lived in has this insane obsession with constantly subdividing a single store. It gets its whole parking lot, and then you cannot drive through its parking lot to the store next to it. You have to rejoin the main road just to go from like CVS to like some cafe, even though they're literally next to each other, but they didn't connect each other's parking lots. And it's usually just due to selfish zoning laws where they're like, nah, I don't want to have to spend extra money to build a little connection point with you. Like, fuck you. What are my tax dollars being used for then?
You end up with more traffic.
So if you try to avoid the traffic on foot, that's a problem because most neighborhoods never built any sidewalks.
Even in front of the elementary school. So even if a kid did want to walk, they can't. Which means at 8:30 in the morning, they join 18,000 other parents, moms and dads, all dropping their kids off here and jamming up this intersection.
Fewer people walking and less ability to pay for sidewalks if you wanted to.
Or heck, even just widen the street, make it nicer for cars to go down. there aren't enough taxpayers on this road to pay for those improvements.
I'm not even mad at Atlanta drivers here. It's not the citizens of Atlanta's fault. It's the paint-huffing traffic engineers who did all of this to us. But yeah, that's it for this video. Like this video if you hate bad drivers, share it to anyone who does suck at driving, check out my shorts for automotive content, and subscribe for more situations updates. Check out my bad car owners video if you haven't, and I'll see y'all next time. Bladed Angel out.